We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe, your host. Today was supposed to be my day off, but I went ahead and went in, trying to stack my money back up from when I bought the washer and dryer. Finally got it working. Sammy ordered a cord and we hooked it up and got it going on, so... We all know what's going on right now. The election. I'm just going to be quite frank. I'm a little irritated that it hasn't come through. The results, I think that there is something fishy going on. It's 7 o'clock in the morning right now, and I work third shift, so not last night, but the night before last, on the way to work, they said a pipe broke in Georgia, and Georgia has still not been counted yet, and it was just one of those things that was just kind of odd, and I think they're trying to pull something funny, and it's not that, it's not just because I voted for Trump, me and Sammy voted. It's just simply like how fucking convenient. And I don't believe in what do they say? I don't believe in coincidences anymore. After this many years down the rabbit hole, I do not believe in coincidences anymore. I truly don't. I would like to think there's not predestination, that we have our own free will. I would like to think that, but I do not believe in coincidences. That's a whole nother deep subject for another day. That's all I'm going to say until now. I mean, I've felt nervous this whole time. I want it to be over, and I just want to know, But, sorry for that interruption. The computer decides to annoy me. But yeah, we are going to be doing the second part of the Sid and Nancy conspiracy theory. Let's see. The 16th of 1978. The Sex Pistols fall apart. Steve and Paul don't want to work with either Johnny or Sid anymore. Johnny's acting the big rock star. Sid's completely out of control. Malcolm is also complaining about those two. Sid's gone off with some new heroin pals. Overdoses, goes unconscious, and turns blue. Malcolm gets to him just in time. The 17th. McLaren confirms to Steve and Paul are going to Rio without him or Sid to record the escaped great train robber convict Ronnie Biggs. To record with. The 18th. Johnny announces to the New York Post band that the band are over. The 19th. Sid has an overdose on the plane to New York and falls into a coma. He is rushed to the hospital. The 20th. Photographer Roberta Bailey calls Sid in the hospital. He says he left the band and that Rotten is completely finished. And as usual, the death prophecy. I will probably die in 6 months, actually. The 21st. In London, Johnny speaks to an evening paper, confirming the split. I was bored chronic of singing the same two sets for 2 years. Or the same set for 2 years. And bored stiff with Sid's juvenile behavior. Sid can go off and kill himself, and nobody will care. Sid discharges himself from the hospital with the advice that he get further treatment in London. He's got bronchitis and is very rough. February 1978. Sid talks about self-destruction to NME magazine, I guess. When I get so annoyed over something, I need an enemy. Somebody who done something to me so that I can take it out on him or beat them to a pulp. And I always find I'm sitting in a room with a load of friends and I can't do anything to 'em. So I just go upstairs and smash a glass and cut myself. Then I feel better. The 27th. Sid Vicious appears live with Johnny Thunders and a one-off group, The Living Dead, at the Speakeasy Club. Johnny insists that Nancy goes topless to introduce the band. Band members are Peter Parrott of the Only Ones, Paddy Paladin of Snatch, and two of the Eddie and the Hot Rods. The sound check they did find Sid out of his head. Can't find the notes on his bass, so they switched his amp off. A couple of months later, Johnny plays there again with Steve Jones and Paul Cook. On the 4th of April 1978, Sid is in Paris filming for the Sex Pistols movie, performing the memorable My Way highlight. Sid's vocal is recorded line by line as he is so ill. Sid and Nancy have talked to Mirror Records on the 8th of April for a 3-page cover story. Sid tells of Rosalind Russell. I'll die before I'm tells Rosalind Russell. Seriously? I hate my wife's computer. Alright, sorry about that. I'll die before I'm very old. I don't know why, I just have this feeling. There have been plenty of other times that I've nearly died. They also reveal they were both on 2 grams of a day heroin habit, costing 80 pounds. So I don't know how much pounds are. Like I said in the last video, I'm American as hell. So if y'all could tell me how much a pound is compared to the American dollar, that'd be cool. I mean, I'm Irish by blood, but American by birth and by being raised here, you know. I've never left the country. Let's see. Where's it at? Until a recent methadone program, Sid might form a band with Johnny Thunders. Much of the interview is now focused on Sid's bitterness towards Johnny Rotten. May 1978, the 12th. Sid and Nancy in court on drug charges from November. June 1978, the Sex Pistols announced that they'll continue without Johnny Rotten, and they're auditioning for a new singer. Why they didn't just use Sid? Maybe Steve and Paul wouldn't have it. And with the new single out with Ronnie Biggs on vocals, the B-side is Sid singing My Way. Over the years, it's that track that's endured far more than McLaren's controversy seeking Biggs' A-side. On the 30th, My Way is released as the B-side. No One Is Innocent. Of No One Is Innocent. Meanwhile, it's reported that there had been no contact between Sid and the other two for some while. The NME review notes, just a thought, the last person to record My Way died soon after. Everyone is noticing Sid's death wish lifestyle. August 1978. The 2nd. Back in court for drug charges. On the 5th, Sid is seen on the Revolver TV show singing My Way. On the 12th, now it's the turn to see No One Is Innocent on Revolver, but the film clip is banned. On the 15th, Sid performs his first gig fronting a band. It's also his farewell to London gig. He and Nancy are moving to New York. Glenn Matlock, the former Pistols bassist who Sid replaced, has put together the band, the Rich Kids. Steve New, the Damneds, Rat Scabies, and Nancy on backing vocals, but her mic is turned off. They're giving the name Vicious White Knights after the various bands they form. Soon afterwards, 19-year-old Shep is at their flat, sharing in the drugs. He overdoses in the morning. They find he is dead. By the way, Rat Scabies, they didn't mention it, but I believe he was in Motorhead. So, little fun fact. I'm pretty sure, I'm most positive he was a member of Motorhead eventually. So there you go. Alright. Where was I at? Okay, the 26th. Sid and Nancy fly to New York. After Sid has finished filming videos for Eddie Cochran's Something Else, and come on everybody, they moved into the Chelsea Hotel, room 100. The Pendock Muse lease is taken on by Tony James of Generation X. By the way, that hotel room and that particular hotel is said to be haunted by Sid and Nancy. They're both dead now, and we'll get to that on what happened and what you think happened. September 1978. Sid performs a gig under the banner Music Industry Casualties at Max's Kansas City, the famous New York City rock and roll club. There's a couple of the Dead Boys playing too. Sid has enlisted the Idols. Bassist, what the fuck? They're doing fingerprint shit on my wife's computer. If she seriously thinks I'm gonna take the mark of the beast, I will smash this thing against the wall. That's absurd. I'm not in fucking prison, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just tired of this mark of the beast shit. They're about ready to force feed us vaccines here in a little bit. You know, with Donald Trump's whole... Okay, here we go, man. Let me go off on a side note. I'm not trying to be in a foul mood. It's just... I gotta say what I gotta say that's on my chest, man. Donald Trump is pushing this whole thing, and no fucking conspiracy channel is talking about it. This operation, forget what he's calling, basically where the military will just rush in and give us all vaccines. Warp Speed, Operation Warp Speed, and no one's mentioning it. I am not taking a vaccine, dude. You are going to have to throw me in prison. And I have no problem sitting in prison. And they'll say, well, Abe, they'll put you in solitary confinement. You'll go crazy. I'm already crazy, dude. That's the thing. So I don't care. You can't go crazy when you're already crazy. You can't shove me. You can't force me to take a fucking needle in a vaccine, which is going to have an RFID chip in it. And God knows what else. They're going to change our genetics with this shit, man. Sorry, y'all. I just keep having technical difficulties. I keep having this shit pop up. I don't know what my wife has installed on this computer, but it's absurd. They want me to fucking fingerprint to use my own goddamn computer? No, sir. No. Where am I at? Got me pissed off. I'm trying to finish off a podcast. I should have finished this off the last episode, but I'm almost done, y'all. I'm sorry. Where the fuck was I? Getting real tired of this shit. Alright. They just moved into Chelsea Hotel. And that's what I was getting into, that place is haunted. So if you guys want to check out that, actually I'll probably look it up, because I didn't plan on making this into a 2-part thing, but it ended up being that long. If for some reason I don't mention it on this episode, check it out in general. Check out like Sid and Nancy, Chelsea Hotel, Ghost Stories, and you can find it. I've read it before. I don't have it on hand, but I could probably find it for you all, and maybe do it either on this episode or not. And the reason why is because when I do a podcast, it's simply off the cuff. I have like little notes here and there. I mean, I have somewhat of a script, but I think if you limit yourself to a script, you actually ruin a podcast. I think a lot of it should be off the cuff. It's a podcast, man. But yeah. So they moved into the Chelsea Hotel. Sid performs a gig under the banner, Music Industry Casualties at Max's Kansas. Max's Kansas City, the famous New York City rock and roll club. There's a couple of the Dead Boys playing there too. Sid has enlisted the Idols, bassist Arthur Kane and the drummer Jerry Nolan from the New York Dolls, and guitarist Steve Dior, later of the London Cowboys. The Clash's Mick Jones, guest on guitar. On the 18th of September 1978, Sid and Nancy do an interview for TV alongside Steve Basters of the Dead Boys. Nancy is all for feminism. They're going to record a single with the Idols. On the 28th, Max's Kansas City. The first of 3 more headline dates with the Idols. Mick Jones played 2 sets each night. On the 10th, out browsing shops with friends, Nancy buys Sid a small knife. Knives have held a long fascination for Sid and Nancy. They've been frequently photographed playing with them. On the 12th of October 1978, Nancy Spungen is dead, and Sid Vicious is arrested for the murder of his girlfriend. She's bled to death from one small cut in her abdomen. They and most everyone they associate with have been out of it on drugs. So the story of exactly what happened is very confused and contradictory. Alright, this is what makes this a conspiracy theory. Everyone's fucked up on drugs. Sid stabs Nancy. Now, I wanted to point this out, that Sid and Nancy are neither a member of the 27 Club. So, go ahead and get that conspiracy out of your head. Something that is not mentioned in this timeline, but they do mention it in the movie. This is where it becomes a conspiracy theory. Is they had a drug dealer in the house that night, getting them some heroin, because that was their drug of choice, pretty much. A lot of people say that something went wrong with the drug deal. On the movie, they kind of show it that they bought the drugs, and then the drug dealer wanted them to share the drugs, and then something went haywire to where the drug dealer got pissed off. But Nancy, which I will tell in a short story, I do have a little short story here of Nancy about how Nancy was a sloppy druggie. So she would walk through the hotel with money literally falling out of her fucking purse and shit. They were just a mess. So a lot of people think that the drug dealer came in and killed Nancy, and Sid was just asleep on the bed, so he just didn't wake up because he was so fucked up on heroin. And that he just like took either the drugs or the money and or both and left. Because Sid does not remember killing Nancy, but a lot of people think that Sid killed Nancy. So I don't know. The whole thing is just a weird conspiracy. And I insist that you watch the movie and try to figure it out yourself. Because there is a weird Suicide Pact element. There's just a lot of weirdness around the whole case. But I'll read this and see what you think. So let's see. See, yep, here we go. On the 13th, in court, alright, Nancy Spungen is dead, and Sid Vicious is arrested for the murder of his girlfriend. She's bled to death from, we already read that, gotcha. On the 13th, in court, bail is set for $50,000. Malcolm McLaren arrives in New York and hires a law firm to defend Sid. He's trying to arrange bail. Sid is in Rikers Island prison, where the hardcore criminals are sent, and has been moved to the hospital wing to detoxify him from heroin. On the 15th, Sid's mother, Ann Beverly, arrives in New York. After raising $10,000 by selling her story to the New York Post, McLaren's Kings Road shop is already selling Sid t-shirts with the slogan, "I'm alive, she's dead, I'm yours." Nancy is buried in Philadelphia. On the 16th, Virgin Records send the $50,000 bail money for Sid to McLaren. On the 17th, Sid gets out of Rikers prison on bail. On the 22nd, a despondent and desperate Sid tries to kill himself by taking all his methadone supply and slashing his wrist. Ann Beverly calls Malcolm, who rushes over. Sid pathetically pleads to be finished off. It's part of a suicide pact, according to Nick Kent. Sid then confessed to Joe Stevens on tape to poking at Nancy with a knife during a fight, after which they quickly made up. In their state, neither realized that the small wound was causing blood loss. Sid went out, and when he returned, she was dead. So that's Nick Kent's version. December 1978. Sid out with Steve Dior and Peter Kotick of Grayville, and he gets into a fight in an empty Hurrahs club with Patti Smith's brother, Todd. Sid bottles Todd in the face, cutting him badly. He's dragged out by Peter Grayville, but arrested the next morning. Sid is thrown back in jail in Rikers prison. It's a clear violation of his parole. This time it's for 7 weeks. On January 1979, NME quotes Sid from prison, full of bravado. "Johnny Rotten will see who will sell the most records when this trial is over, and it won't be him. I'm the only one of the Sex Pistols left. I was almost more famous than any of them. They just didn't have any bottle." February 1979. Sid is clean from heroin. He's been in compulsory detox in prison for 7 weeks. The lawyers get him released from prison. His mother has bought some heroin for him. Sid takes some heroin. and demands more. He collapses but insists he's okay. Later, he finds and takes the rest of the heroin. It's his mother who finds Sid dead. On the 7th, Sid is cremated in New York. Not buried with Nancy. His mom later manages to scatter the ashes over Nancy's grave. 23rd, Sid's Something Else single was released. The 22nd of June 1979. Okay, yeah, that's just getting into. But yeah, Sid killed himself with heroin. I think on purpose. That's just my theory that it was a suicide pact. Like I said, you'll have to watch the Sid and Nancy movie. I have it. If there was some way to pirate it to you all, I would. So you all could kind of figure out that theory for yourself. Because it gets into the whole drug dealer part. Let's see. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it quits for today, man. Just because honestly, the actual viewership is kind of low because they've been shutting channels down with this election going on, and I don't know. I put it in an hour. I usually try to make the 30-minute mark. This is close enough to the 30-minute mark for me. I usually try to put in an hour or 30 minutes, and I put in an hour last episode, so I think I did pretty good. I'm working 6 days a week, a shit ton of hours, so I don't know. I love you all. I hope the election goes good. I hope everyone stays safe, and I hope you all have a beautiful fucking day.
We are, as a people,